What is up, guys? My name is Jhalisa John and I'm a serial entrepreneur from Trinidad and Tobago. On my YouTube channel, I share strategic business advice as well as the occasional style tips and makeup tutorial. However, in this video, I want to talk to you guys about aligning your business objectives with tactical strategies. Because if you're setting goals and you're not getting the results that you desire, it could be that you haven't taken the time to actually map out the micro activities that you should be doing in order to help you achieve your goals. So let's jump right into this video. So before we get more in depth into this video, there are some key terms that I would like to define because some of you watching this may or may not know what these things mean. So let me just define it for you up front. So first up is objectives. A business objective is basically a result that a company wants to achieve. And unlike goals, objectives tend to be really broad. You may have heard that goals are SMART, and that's basically an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Now, another term I want to define before we jump into this video is strategy. Now, a strategy is basically defined as the means by which you're going to achieve your objectives or your goals. And then we have tactics. Tactics are basically the specific things that you're going to do, the specific activities you're going to do to achieve your objectives. And then lastly, we have KPIs, which are key performance indicators. Now, a KPI is a metric that is specific to your company that you're going to track to help you measure the performance of that tactic to see how well you are doing in terms of achieving your objectives. Now, I hope all of that made sense. I know I'm talking really fast, but you can always tap back to remind yourself what these terms mean. So to explain how exactly you align your business objectives with a strategy, I'm going to use an example. So let's say your objective is to make more money. Now, that's a pretty broad thing. That's why we have to now break that down or define that as a goal, something that is more specific and measurable and relevant to you. So let's just say you sell a physical product. Your goal might be to sell X amount of this product by next month or within the next 30 days at Y price. Okay? And from there, you then have to come up with a strategy. How are you going to sell X amount of product? Okay, maybe you can promote that product on social media. But yet again, we see that the strategy is really broad. There's so many different ways to promote your product. So that is why it's so important to actually take this next step and write down the actual tactics, the activities you're going to do. How are you actually going to promote this product? So you could probably run ads on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, or you could use influencer marketing or whatever tactics you use. It must then influence the KPI, which is your key performance indicators. So let's say you use paid advertising to promote your product so that you could sell more and in turn achieve your goal of making more money. A KPI you might want to measure is sales, obviously. You might also want to measure the impressions that each of your ads are receiving on social media or each of the platforms that they're being run on. You'll also want to measure messages. Is anyone reaching out to you after they see your ad or people visiting your website? And so by tracking these different metrics, you're able to assess whether your strategy is working. Okay, so here's another example. Let's say your objective is to increase brand awareness. Now, yet again, that's a really broad term that could mean literally so many different things. Increasing your brand awareness could mean for you getting more followers, having more mentions, having more engagement on social media, getting more sales. It could be could mean so many different things, but you have to figure out what that means for you, right? And that will in turn influence your goal. Okay, so if your objective is to get more awareness, and to you that might be to awareness to you means getting more followers, then your goal would be to get 100 followers within the next 7 days or something like that, right? And then after you have your goal, you then have to think about a strategy. Okay, how am I going to get 100 followers within the next 7 days? You could probably use influencer marketing, reach out to micro influencers and have them mention you on their accounts. So okay, great, that's a strategy. Next, you have to think about the specific tactics in terms of, okay, who are these micro influencers I'm going to use? How many of them am I going to use? And how often do I want them to mention me? So I hope you guys are realizing how important it is to actually go through this process of mapping down everything from objectives, your strategy, your tactics, right? And then your KPI. So remember I said your KPI has to be relevant to the objective and the strategy that you have chosen. So a KPI could be how many people view your page after someone mentions you, after a micro influencer mentions you. So how many profile views, how many followers you get, how many people reach out to you, that type of thing. And so you measure the results of each of these metrics to determine if your actions or the tactics that you're doing are helping you achieve that big picture objective, helping you achieve that goal of getting to 100 followers. And I think for a lot of us, it's easy for us to make goals or to set objectives, but we actually don't take the time to sit down and determine the other things, like how are we actually going to achieve these goals, the action steps, you know, how long it's going to take us. We don't really think about these things, and that's why so many of us, we make goals and then at the end of the day we're not able to achieve these goals, and then we feel defeated. I think this is such an important topic to talk about right now, especially because we are nearing the end of 2019. We're heading into 2020 really soon, and you may have made goals at the beginning of this year, New Year's resolutions or whatever you want to call them. And now that we're almost at the end of the year, you have to look back now and say, wow, I made these goals, but did I actually take the steps to achieve these goals? I don't think making goals is the problem. Most of us, that's not the problem. The problem is coming up with a strategy and a tactic to actually help us achieve this goal. And I mean, it could be anything. It could be like, your goal could be to lose 25 pounds, but if you don't actually sit down and come up with a strategy, okay, so in order for me to lose 25 pounds, I have to start eating better and exercising. And then you have to think about it more specifically in terms of tactics. Okay, so I have to exercise every other day for at least 45 minutes. I have to stop eating junk food. I have to start eating more vegetables. You have to actually think about these things, write them down so that you know that, so that it's clear what you have to do in order to achieve that goal. And I hope by me sharing this video, it made it clearer for you guys to understand how you're supposed to align your objectives or your goals with strategies and tactics, right? If you found this video helpful, or if you have any questions, please leave a comment below and give this video a thumbs up. And if you know anyone who needs to stop procrastinating and start achieving their goals, especially for 2020, share this video with them. Why not?